I'm so sorry.
Welcome to Roland Hall. There are name tags around. You're also going to be introducing yourselves in just a moment, but again, Roland Hall, there's the Wi-Fi, plenty of nice breakfast items, including hot coffee and some waters in the back. There is creamer. There's those little mini packets. If you look close enough. But my name's Mike Shackelford. If you don't know me or if I haven't seen you at a tournament, I'm the coach here at Roland Hall. I'm also now your president of the Coaches Association. Thank you.
I love it.
And I just wanted to say first, thank you for making time on your Saturday to come here to not only hopefully learn something, but complete some business items and just start the year and the season off great. I would love to do some introductions and do it pretty quick, but to share your name, your school, and I'm really interested, what year is this for you? How many years have you been coaching? Those are the requirements, just so we can kind of get a sense of, the levels of experience and maybe who to look to when people start saying, I have 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Look at that person as a de facto mentor and leader. But if you want to add one more thing, the optional, favorite memory from last season or something that you love about coaching. So, again, my name's Mike. I coach at Roland Hall. This is going to be year 18 at Roland Hall coaching. I do middle school and high school debate. I'm also, if you're in the Great Salt Lake NSDA district, I'm your district chair for that. But my favorite memory from last year was actually one of the great tournaments, of course, Skyhawk Smackdown down at Salem Hills. Doug isn't here, but he gets a shout out nonetheless. He might be getting here. He had a parade this morning first, so he might be bringing the whole parade route this way for us.
Yeah, we'll see.
But no, it's a great tournament, 2 days, food trucks, every event imaginable. But I was over in the middle school helping to run the policy side, and someone who was judging for the first time, I hadn't seen them since they were a high school debate partner of mine. Only for one tournament, but they were a teammate at Jordan High School, and her kid was doing debate again. So it was cool to kind of catch up, and that's what we do. There's these connections and connections all throughout the community. So thank you. You don't have to be as long-winded as me, but Mike, Roland Hall.
Tim Henry, I'm at Skyline. I've done 6 years as assistant coach, and this will be my 8th year as the head coach. And then you said memory, or just like what we like about it, right?
Yeah.
I think the relationships you build with the students and such, and then watch them kind of grow up and then go on. And I talk to so many of my former debaters still. I'll just check in and see how they're doing and such. So I think that's like the best thing about being a coach. So.
Cassidy Knighton. Sorry, I haven't heard him talk all day. This will be I'm at Carbon High School. This will be my 8th year teaching, but usually language arts, and it's my first year on debate because they were really, really desperate. So.
We're going around the circle across the table.
I guess.
Around the circle.
Sure.
All right. Vaughn Christensen, assistant coach at Beaver High School, starting my 17th season as an assistant coach. I'm my 3rd head coach. We were talking about Doug a few minutes ago. He's like, "What are you doing here?" Where are they all going? And the answer is pretty rough on my head coach. So, favorite debate experience? Honestly, I love going down to the Red Rock Classic in Moab Grand High School every year since I first started. They just run a wonderful show. And the best part is going to that sketchy movie theater kind of sliding a cash $5 bill across the counter to some old guy and watching, I think, probably a pirated movie. But yeah, it's just fun to get away with the kids and to form these connections. And then the real reward is watching them, decades later, years later, come back and say what they've done with their life and how speech and debate impacted them and changed them and helped shape who they are.
I'm Tara Johnson. I'm at North Severe. This will be my 4th year coaching, so I have no idea what I'm doing. My favorite thing probably is when the seniors graduate and I get to talk to them later and they're like, I had this great experience and it was because of debate that I was able to do whatever it was that we did. So that's really rewarding to me.
I'm Ryan Woodstock at Intermountain Christian School. This is my 3rd year coaching. My favorite experience last year was moving up to 2A and the kids getting to see sort of a different level of competition and meet a whole new cadre of coaches with its own unique culture. Which is much fun.
I'm Tanner Latham at Harriman, and I think this is my 7th year of coaching now. And I think my favorite thing from last year was finding out at the end of the year that a lot of the teams now affectionately refer to me as John Tabroom. How much I run Tabroom.
Yes! You're not, yeah.
Yep.
So my name's Jonathan Spencer. I am the head coach at Corner Canyon. I'm a non-faculty member, just a member of the community that wanted to see the Bay stay alive at Corner Canyon.
Yeah.
This is my 6th year. This is my 6th year of Ball of Speech Debate. 2nd year as a head coach. I had 2 kids go through the program, and I think I'm the 4th head coach Corner Canyon has had. So, you know, I think my favorite memory, and I'm going to give a shout out to my friends up at Beaumont. We had a lot of kids that were acquaintances when we went to the Beaumont tournament, and we had an amazing Friday night. It was fun. By the end of the night, the kids were all dancing together, and kids went on a bus leaving Corner Canyon as acquaintances, and they were all friends when they went back home. And so I give a lot of credit to that amazing tournament, and that was just something that really filled my bucket as a coach.
I'm Tamara Townsend, also from Corner Canyon, assistant coach. This is my 2nd year. I've got kids in the program. I love these kids. They keep it interesting. Maybe the most memorable thing from last year was at Nationals and Jacqueline coming to get me out of judging, saying one of my students declared anarchy in the Congress round. It's not there. I'm like, oh. So these kids keep it interesting. It's fun.
That is awesome. Okay.
All right, Bill Knight, Grantsville High. This is my 2nd year. Last year, I think the favorite thing, thinking about it, was just watching how the students improved over the year from the first tournament to the last tournament. It was amazing. You know, they're giving the same speech, but it's like 20 times better because they've had that whole, just watching the growth of the students was the coolest thing for me.
Is Kendra still helping out?
Yeah, she's just doing her finals for her lawyer thing.
She's a former student of mine, so.
Yeah,
That
Very
lawyer.
good.
that lawyer thing, yeah. So. No, go ahead.
My name's Ethan Adams. I'm taking over for Steve at Providence Hall High School this year. This is my very first year officially coaching debate. A lot of you guys have probably seen me around for the last several years, if not more. So I'm excited because this is my first year like actually being the head coach instead of just taking over for Doug. So I'm also one of Doug's old students. I've known him for almost half of my life now. But my favorite memory from last year was probably when I took over for Doug, when he went up to the hill. It gave me an opportunity to do a real good crash course of what it's like being a debate coach in his absence. So I've really appreciated that, and I had a ton of fun doing it.
You still want to do this?
Yeah.
Let's get off here.
I'm teasing.
I'm Kristen Owens. I'm at Hunter High School. This is my 7th year coaching, but 6th at Hunter. As far as like kind of memorable things, I know I have to go with Mike on like connections. You just, you know, connections to people from back when I debated, the students, and seeing the students years later. Like I just love the relationships that we have and that we form in our community, and you just kind of like never know when you're going to run into people. So, or like we ended up sitting next to each other on a plane for what was that, Christmas or anyway. So you just never know, you know, when you're going to run into people from the community, and I like the connections that we form. So.
I'm Tara Stevens. I teach junior high debate, but Mike was nice enough to let me tag along to learn from all of you. This is my 7th year coaching. It's like my 14th year at SAA. And I think my favorite is definitely watching the kids as I teach them the basics and they go off to high school and they, you know, learn more. And I've seen some of my students go to nationals, and I like that that I get to groom them for you.
Thank you.
I'm Jacqueline Crossway. I'm the one who's been spamming your email box with meeting notes about this meeting. I'm at Alta High, and I've been coaching for 19 years. This will be my 19th year. And let's see. One of my favorite things, a lot of you have talked about your alumni. I got to go to an alumni wedding, and after she read her vows that she had written, she got a standing ovation from all of her rhetorical devices and everything. And I was like, yes, that's success.
All right, I'm Tanya Roundy. I've been everywhere, done everything. I don't know. I'm going on 19 years as well with things and stuff. I'm the UDCA tab room, tournament director, whatever you need, person. And I'm also Sundance chair, so, and then we'll get with Shannon and us three will run the state, and we're good. So if you need anything, my favorite thing is that I can't leave. I keep trying and I can't, so I'm here. So here you go.
I'm Elliot, I'm Hunter High. I've been the assistant coach for half a year. And then I guess the favorite member was going to national.
I'm Preston. I'm with Park City High School. This will be my first year as the head coach, but I've been coaching for a total of 3 years. So.
Hi, I'm Adela Genovez, and I'm at Kearns High School. I teach science, and I'll be assisting Amanda, but I have done a couple of volunteer sessions and I've really enjoyed. I'm really impressed by the students and how they put it all together and their strong arguments and just views of the world. So I think that's why I'm intrigued. So I look forward to learning lots of new things.
I'm Amanda Bird, and at Kearns High. This is my, I think, either 14th or 15th year in debate. The first 5 were in junior high. So, and then I've been over at the high school now. This is my 11th year at the high school. So, my favorite thing last year was making all of my kids do a lip sync, which they all usually avoid, like the flag, and see these kind of awkward, nerdy kids doing like in sync and actually really enjoying it. So it was really cool.
I'm Elizabeth Jensen. I am the head coach at Brighton. Like Jonathan, I am just a parent. Just a parent.
There's
my
no
daughter
such
does
just.
debate, and if it weren't for her, I would be the coach. I was the assistant coach 2 years ago, then the assistant coach for half of last year, and then the head coach last year for half of the year. So I'm excited to start this year. So it's Elizabeth's version, not the versions that I had to follow from everybody else. My favorite thing from last year was going to nationals with my daughter. And then her speech just keeps having a life of its own, and she performed it at the Conwood Heights City Council meeting last Tuesday because they wanted to learn about intersectional feminism. So, yeah, that was kind of awesome. Just, it's still going. She still hasn't memorized.
Alright, I'm Adam Jensen, no relation. I don't think.
Family ancestry search.
Right?
How many of us are related?
I started in 2005, I think. No, I did. When Leslie Robinette was still at Hillcrest. So I've been here for a while. And I'm at Viewmont now, going on 3 years. When I came back to full-time coaching, I had taught financial advisors how to grow their businesses, as Jonathan understands who I taught or coached for over there. Because he's been spammed by them, I'm sure. Maybe a few times. Anyway, I my favorite memory from last year was my tournament. I had strep throat and a fever of 102, 103, and I was still there. And it was kind of a mess, but I only got compliments on how fun it was for everybody else.
Had a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun.
Like, everybody had so much fun. We left at 11:30, like 2.5 hours after it was supposed to be done. But everybody loved it. Maybe it was because there wasn't a Saturday follow-up. It was only Friday. And so that has to be my favorite. But everybody, it was the fact that I think everybody who was around stepped in and helped me out in the guitar room and pitched in and did what they could to help me out. That's my favorite part about this community, is we all help each other out. That's huge to me, and that's what we do.
I'm Sam Goodfellow. This is my first year coaching and teaching. I'm at Olympus High School. They really just threw me to the wolves. They're like, "You're gonna coach debate." I'm like, "Great, I did it like 2 years in high school, 10 years ago." So, favorite debate memory from 10 years ago. I wrote an oratory speech that I never gave, but I still memorized it.
There you go.
Yeah, anyway, that's fun.
I gotta ask, is the shirt from Wyoming by any
No,
chance?
born and raised Salt Lake City.
Okay. I know, we got.
But I love Wyoming, it's like a home away.
That's the right.
That's not true. Hi everybody, I'm Ryan. I am the coach at West. You may know me from debating Tanya in our email chain about vulgar rules.
It was a good debate, I have to say. It was a very good debate.
Really good debate. I'm coaching at West for 1 year now. My goal last year was to not get fired, and I nailed that. So, I really just enjoyed getting to really know the students, giving them the space to be themselves, and watching their personalities develop and getting to know them as people. So,
Anyone get skipped? All right. Anyone need a chance to help yourself to a muffin or the fruits or anything? You should just get up at any point and do that. That wasn't so bad though, right? We all introduced ourselves, getting ready for those faculty meetings at school, where they'll make you do way more uncomfortable things, I'm sure. Our school is planning like spike ball and volleyball, collaborative, I don't know. Next part of our agenda is to hear from some of the leadership, our executive committee. And I've talked to most of you, so you know this is coming, but just a reminder of what our role is and maybe what our goal or our vision for the year might be. So again, I'm the UDCA president, and the primary role that I serve is listening to my mentors and past presidents of Tanya and Rachel Billings telling me how to do it. But really, there's not a top-down structure to debate. For those of you who are new, there's so many overlapping both jurisdictions and organizations, and the Coaches Association tries to help bridge that gap a little bit and have a unifying place. So of course, you're reporting to your principal. Of course, you should be talking to your athletic director. You should be connecting with your region cohorts, right? You should be listening to your classification state director for 1A, 2A, 3A, all the way up to 6A. You should be in touch with your NSDA district chair. If you're a member, everyone should really be a member of the National Speech and Debate Association. And all of this kind of comes up, though, to the Coaches Association, which is both a direct intermediary and collaborator with the UHSAA, the High Schools Activities Association, which is really who sets the rules and the procedures for our region and state tournaments. But we're also this organization that tries to help coaches have an easier time doing what is really, really hard, but hopefully rewarding. And so whether that's providing rules, guidance, whether that's offering training, whether that's just trying to facilitate those connections where you feel like you have someone that you can go to. I certainly want to be one of those people that you can email me anytime with questions. If I don't know the answer, very few people might know the answer to that, but I will direct you to those people as well. A couple of things that I'm looking forward to doing this year, longer term planning stuff. I'm really interested in the UDCA hosting a summer camp, summer 2025. The University of Utah has one that's great. There's certainly other ones that exist around the country, but we have really talented students who not only want to raise their game, but are ready to commit even more, and having a debate camp, I think, is a big piece, another offering that the UDCA can do. The UDCA, of course, hosts tournaments like the Speech Arts, and they host these meetings, and they help out in that regard. But debate camp. The other one is we're still working on a new website. I'm hoping, I was actually working with some of you know, and even got a chance to provide some feedback last spring. But Westminster's web development student group are still helping us build something out. It was really exciting for a moment, and then I realized it's actually just 19 and 20-year-old kids at a college course whose their job was to just do a presentation. And when that class was over, they were done. So I'm trying to, it's there, we're just gonna migrate it over. So debate camp, new website, and the emails you can expect from me are going to be gentle nudges, maybe small acts of recommendations or inspiration for things to do at tournaments, best practices, lessons learned from each other. And one thing I might be in the first email is I'm not good with names. Name tags are my lifesaver. I think tournament directors start throwing out name tags in the tab room, because we have so many new faces, and I know at any given tournament there's that cohort at the computer that have all the answers, and they're busy, so you don't want to interrupt. But I don't remember, wear a name tag, reach out to each other, because it really isn't about getting the answers from the UDCA or it's from each other. We're a great collaborative community, the hive mind, right, of debate. So thank you. I'll pass it over to our Director of Professional Development, PD. If you want some credit for that, there is a attendance sheet going around as well. But sign in right there. But I'll pass it over to Jacqueline. And round of applause again for organizing this and bringing all those nice snacks. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Well, thank you all for coming, and it's great to have you all here and just the wide variety of experiences. Thanks for sharing just what your experience is, and we look forward to supporting you in what you want to learn. This year, for professional development, I really want to provide more opportunities for collaboration and for professional learning communities. And so some of you have seen, some of you who filled out the form saw the idea about doing a Friday Zoom meeting from 3 to 3:30. What that'll be, we are going to go ahead and do that for the first 7 Fridays of the season, and each Friday will cover a different event. I'm going to send out the schedule on Monday because I know some people are back and some people are coming back on Monday. And we'll have different coaches teaching those sessions, and what that will be, excuse me, what that will be is 10 to 15 minutes of a overview, teaching specific, this is what this event is. So for example, Mike's going to start us off next weekend, August 17th, with policy. And he's going to do a quick 10-15 minute, this is what policy is, these are some details, and then a time for Q&A, because we all know that we come with different understandings. And so these will all be also recorded and posted to our UDCA website. So if you can't make that 3 to 3:30 time, you can still watch whenever it's convenient for you at 3 o'clock in the morning. So those are some of the things that we want to do. We, some of you have given in some great ideas, excuse me, on the form about wanting to do some more interactions with students, hosting times with students. And so we're going to be talking about that, looking into that. But we really want to create an opportunity, as Mike said several times, this is a collaborative group. We are not here to hide our secrets, but to support each other and to really make everybody a success, because we all know that as we encourage each other and as we build each other up, everybody just gets better. And so if you have ideas, I'm very open. Please feel free to email me, and let's just continue to work together, make this an awesome year. Thank you.
All right, again, tournament director. It doesn't mean I'm running every tournament, but if you do need help with your tournaments, I am a little more free and have things this year, so reach out. If I can't make it personally to your tournament, you can email me questions. Or I've trained this lovely young man over here.
John Tabor.
And I'm also willing to train anyone and everyone. If you go to the current website, there is a Tab Room Made Easy video series. It's a little older, but it gets you started. My work is, the Tab Room keeps changing, so I'm waiting for them to stop, but they're still stop. So I'm just gonna make a new series on some updates and things they're going, and I post them to the website. Several years ago, when I became president and stuff, I created the new website on my own. I am not a website developer, so the fact that it's been around this long is kind of scary, and I'm glad Mike has got some more professional people going on
19-year-olds.
19-year-olds. They are smarter than me, I'm just going to say, going on this. But until then, I'll just keep updating this website and keep going with things. But we started posting and recording a lot of the videos that we were doing at these because we realized a lot of people couldn't make these. And so we've been posting a lot of those videos, so you'll see past trainings on Tab Room on there if you have questions. As some of you who've run tournaments before know that if you email me the week of and you have a question, I'll make you a video and send it to you as quickly as possible. I've even done it in the middle of a tournament before when someone's like, hey, how do you do this? And I can't talk to them on the phone, I'll make a video quick and send it to them. Or I can pretty much talk you through it on the phone while I'm driving wherever I'm at and help you with whatever. So please, don't hesitate to call, email, ask. If you need my phone number and you don't have it yet, everyone in the state I think has my number. When I quit, I'll just change my number and nobody will know where I am. So if you need my number, it's 435. Just giving it to you now. 435-813-2155. Text me. I won't answer if you call and I have no idea who you are. Or I'll be in the middle of class or rehearsals. Yeah. But I'm sad and I will answer anytime, any day, all day long. So 3 in the morning maybe even. So yeah, you're good. Yes, Tim.
Is everything that's on the calendar on the website current?
Yes.
Okay.
So as of this moment, Doug is talking about changing his dates maybe. He hasn't confirmed that with me. It's just like a week before. Yeah. And we just got Lava Heights there, things for February. And stuff, and then I'm also talking, so we've just lost the Utah Central Circuit with Jake leaving, so we're going to talk with the Central Circuit and see if I can't help that out a little bit and get that going and keep that going. So, anyway, so I'm here to help with all your tournament needs and things like this. Also, I've been UDCA president, as you said. I came in just as COVID was hitting, and so it's been a long thing, and you'll get to hear a lot more from me later about all of that stuff. So there you go. I'm good.
All right. Stand back here so everyone can see. All right, I'm the director of judges. I'm new to that. There's going to be a lot that I've got on my plate this year. So any help, I'm happy to give you something to do. For the most part, when it comes to director of judges, like when it comes to training judges and everything, I'm going to be working to create kind of a UDCA-wide judges manual, because like right now, every school kind of has something different, but what I found last year was Michelle from Lone Peak has made a really good and succinct packet for speech and debate that goes over kind of the main ideas of judging as a quick overview, and then specific events that can help judges. But then we also want to have a judges training that they can take beforehand if possible. We know that some judges you get the night before, and if that's the case, we want those packets available. Well, I'm also looking at, Mike showed me there's on Tab Room, like the Tab Room judges training. So I'm going to be taking a look at that to see whether or not we just want to use that overall, or I might pull elements from that and create kind of a modified training that's a little bit simpler, quicker, so that the judges, the volunteers, can be ready when we come to our debates. I know a big thing is for everybody is getting judges. So new coaches especially know that we all do everything we can to try and help each other out, work with each other. So if we have extra judges, we'll help you cover your team's judge needs and everything like that. But please try to really get out to your parents, to your teachers, your community, to see who is willing to help with that. And we're hoping that we can get a little bit more help from the state to make it a little more cost effective. Like the state tournaments, they're going to get paid more this year, and hopefully that can be a little bit more of an incentive if there's a better state standard. So that's what we're going for. If you guys need to get a hold of me, I'll put my number up there too. It's 435-660-0926. I'm hoping not to change mine because I'm going for the goal that I'll have one phone number my entire life. That's the only number I've ever had. So, also, I am the Region 2 representative, the 6A state representative. I'm also starting the Westminster University debate program. I am the mother of dragons. Just everything's on the title. So, definitely be talking to your schools also with what I'm just saying for the Westminster program. We're working to build that this year so that we can have like a really big kickoff starting next year, with scholarships, with things like that. At my tournament, the Mustang Madness in October, Westminster, I'm working with them right now to get it all set up, but Westminster should be there with their admissions program to talk about opportunities, to do a kind of like a drawing, a raffle of sorts, and everything like that. So I hope you guys can definitely make it to the Mustang Madness. Yeah.
Alrighty, now their job will be a lot of these roles are what they make of it, and so whether it's a newsletter or social media or helping me transfer over to the website, making sure that what we accomplish as a debate community doesn't just stay within our community. There's a chance to celebrate our successes and make sure people know what we're working on. Middle school liaison, Amanda.
But I'm just really excited to be working with the junior highs. I wanted to do this for a couple of reasons. One, because I adored my time when I was working as a middle school coach. I love working with the junior high kids. And also because since I left Kearns Junior, there hasn't been anybody at the junior high. And I would love to see more junior highs so that one, the kids get that, and two, so that we can have kids coming up that have had more experience. So just excited to be one of the
And speaking for Doug, our long-term treasurer, every year schools pay dues to the UDCA as kind of like a membership fee. That helps support certainly the tournaments that we host, like the UDCA. It helps offer a little bit of a slush fund come the state tournament when it, like hospitality at those state tournaments. And it can, accumulate over time so that we can do things like professional development or, the debate camps and stuff. But he has a W-9. He'll send out an invoice and pay that, but I'm going to pass along to him. He's hoping to have an electronic way of paying that now, where you can do the credit card or the Square app or something where you can pay that, because more and more it seems like schools have a P card or some other kind of credit card way of paying. So that'll be nice. But really, he'll be you hear most at the beginning of the year when it's like pay your fees, pay your dues, be a member. He'll post like, here's who I have, here's who I don't. And then at the end of the year, when we have our state tournament, the state tournament does reimburse schools for the judges that they bring to the state tournament, but they don't pay them directly. And so what will happen is if you go to state and you have 3 judges, you will submit that to Doug. Doug will cut a check to your school, and it's your responsibility as school to compensate those judges if they're expecting to be paid versus being a volunteer. And back to Tanner's point about judging, it's kind of it's not directly a quid pro quo, but we are trying to constantly elevate the accreditation or certification or just the training of our judges. Tournaments depend on judges to make decisions and to rank and vote for or against our students. We want to make sure they're doing it right and doing it to the best of their ability. But we're looking to move towards a certification kind of system, real basic stuff, but where, like, if you've taken the intro 15-minute course on the National Speech and Debate website, boom, level 1 certification. And if you take a few other, level 2, and that way we can go to the state, the UHSAA, and actually say, hey, our judges should be compensated. And again, this is only at the state tournament. Should be compensated like state drama judges, or even like basketball referees or football referees. Like that's all they know is like, wait, they're certified, they go to these trainings, they wear uniforms, they don't just give anyone a whistle. And it seems like at our tournaments we give anyone a whistle to blow for those tournaments. So we're going to be trying to make it look like there's more certification, more training, and hopefully that actually reflects a higher level of expertise. But if nothing else, on paper, it'll be easier for us to ask the state for a raise for our judges.
And if your coach and if your judges are like, I don't feel comfortable, that's why they're saying no, send them to the speechanddebate.org say here's some training.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there you go. Or Tanner.
Is Cindy's video still up there too?
Yeah, they're also on the website. On the website, I have a training page for all of that. So you can just send them to the judges, and it has links to the NSDA. It has Cindy's videos. It has how to judge all of those different events. It has videos, and so we have really great resources to help all of your judges in any way, shape, or form that they need. So
I've got kind of a comment, just a thought, and Tanner could vouch for this. He helped us run our tournament Charger Challenge. We have a big team, and so we have a lot of former students, college students that we pay to come judge. We give them a stipend that the school allows us to do. And then we have a lot of parents and just community members, things like that, that volunteer. One of the things that I've really been thinking about, just not only having my own kids participate in debate, but then having ran tournaments with Jeremy and now with myself, is when we're mapping out tournaments, whether we're attending a tournament as a coach or we're running a tournament as a coach, we tried this at Charger Challenge. I think we had pretty good outcomes. We tried to use our paid judges who have gone through training or former students. We put them in as parleys in Congress. We had them judge all policy rounds because parents don't do a good job. They hate it. They don't want to come back. And then we had them do like PF break rounds and things. And then all of our parents, we had them all pushed into speech rounds because it's easier to train on the spot. It's more subjective. It's more qualitative. Sometimes you get fresher feedback, especially if you give them limits when you're building the tournament on how many comments they have to put before it'll let them submit the ballot. And so it's something that we had really good feedback on. It seemed like the parents had good feedback. It seemed like the students agreed with the ballots. We didn't have as many things challenged or contested, so I just wanted to share that as maybe a thought if you're a coach or if you are running a tournament. If we do have pools of paid judges that have more experience, I mean, if I'm paying a college student to come to a tournament and I'm using them to fill in a speech spot, I know I've gone to tab rooms before and said, hey, this is somebody that's listed as a speech judge. They're really good at judging policy. Move them to policy so that parent that's volunteering doesn't have to go sit in a 2-hour policy round and they'll never come back. So I don't know, I just want to put that out there maybe for a thought or a discussion of how we use the volunteers and the resources we have, especially if we have former students that are helping us. that are really good at tournaments, or as coaches at Tanner's tournament, I didn't have anything to judge. I went and judged a couple policy rounds because now there's that parent that can go judge a speech round, and it's going to be a better experience for them.
Another comment too, just something I've found in my years of helping parents judge, is that the number one thing parents are afraid of is, I'm going to ruin a kid's life with my ballot. And so I always start out my parent judge training with, whether you know it or not, all of you have judged a speech round. Think about a time where you've gone to a conference, you've been sitting in church, you've been listening to a speaker, and you're either bored out of your mind and you're thinking about what you want to do next, or you're listening to that person and going, wow, I really like how they made that point, or that was really interesting. You have just judged a speech round. And it really lowers that effective filter for parents, where all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, I do that all the time. And it's like, yes, now all you're doing is writing down those thoughts in a positive way for students so they can get better. And you know, your parents laugh, they think it's funny, but then they can relate and they're not so nervous. And it takes away all that, or most of that fear of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna ruin a kid's life. So just a really fun tip to talk to your parents and kind of help lower that anxiety, because a lot of them don't judge because they're anxious.
Yeah, we can keep riffing on this this judge topic. I mean, it really is. It can be both the most challenging part of the job, because every tournament for new coaches, you're registering your kids, you're trying to get your bus organized, you're thinking of all those things, and you have to provide your own judges based on the amount of entries you're bringing to that tournament. So there won't be a referee there provided by the state during the regular season. And that's a challenge, because some schools can provide compensation, others can't. Others have a good parent group where you can get volunteers, others don't. So yeah, I wouldn't mind still talking about those tips, tricks, and questions about judges during the regular season and all the way up to state. Tim, you were just about to say
move on if you'd like.
From judging?
My point was going to be that, I think that parents should be in PF judges too. I think it's an important skill for our students to learn is judge adaptation, and that's really the best place to do it. And so, like, I feel like my best debaters, they were very technical, but then they learned a lot this year on how to adapt and make it simple and streamline it better, and they made them better debaters and better communicators too. So I think that's still something we should continue.
And once your judges have judged a few times, do expand them out to those other events. Do widen their range, because the kids, like, judge adaptation is part of the game. They're not going to be in everyday life talking to the people who are going to agree with them all the time, or like a certain style all the time. They can't pick and choose and do strikes on their employer interviews or anything else, right? They can't prep them out. So they need to learn to adapt, and so having those judges that are in there, stuff like this, just because they're parent judges does not mean that they are not qualified or experienced in any way, shape, or form. They just need the training to be able to do that. So, yeah.
I just to button this up, just 60 seconds. I'm somebody going over on time. Again, having to deal with this the last couple of years when we were running a tournament at Corner Canyon, I know the pain that a lot of coaches go through, where they have parents bail at the last minute. And I think it's important to provide a positive experience to the parents from the word go. I had a lot of new parents that helped us a lot this year, and we deliberately, as a strategy, tried to keep them in speech the first couple tournaments until they got more comfortable, until they saw that they weren't going to ruin a kid's life. They saw the fun of it, and then those former students, we tried to put them in maybe the more sticky, complicated things, a little more technical, you know, former students that are going to have to be a parley or judge policy or something like that, where there's more definitive, and you can ruin around if you're a new parent, you don't know what you're doing, and you make the wrong decision. And so I just think that that's something to think about. The last thing I would say is when parents, you know, kind of bail and they're flaky, we got a lot of support at Charger Challenge. We were able to provide an exceptional amount of relief because we went to some colleges. We went to Utah State's DECA program. A lot of students in those programs have, especially ones on scholarship, have to provide service hours. And so they were coming not being compensated, looking to work all day long, helping us to log service hours because they're in honors programs, they're on scholarships, they're working on graduate programs and things like that, where they've got to report back to faculty advisors. And it gave us, I mean, I think we had a dozen extra judges that we didn't have to pay for, and it was a lot of judge relief for a lot of schools. We had one school that had every single judge bail on them at the last minute, the parents. We didn't have to drop a single entry, we didn't penalize them, we didn't fine them, because we were able to get so much judge relief from volunteers from other places outside of our community.
I will say the rubrics were helpful last year.
Oh, good, they're working.
Yeah, I think
Good.
for a lot of my newer judges, they were also really appreciative.
They are making it more consistent for kids too, I think,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
great.
we're starting to see that benefit.
So,
good.
yeah, and that's my plan, is to kind of make that modified a little bit more, give a little more to it, but make that so it's available for every coach.
All right. Moving into statewide information, first thing I wanted to do is just go over the calendar. Tanya, if you actually wouldn't mind having yours up in case we need to add anything in real time. But to just quickly go through, so again, on the current website, utahdebatecoaches.org, links to all sorts of things for judges, for you as a coach, even student resources, primarily the Congress docket and things like that. But from their analytics, the number one thing that people need was the calendar. And so I just wouldn't mind 60 seconds if you're here to just go through. We're going to go through these tournaments, and if you're here because you're hosting the tournament and want to, like I said, take that 60 seconds or less to plug your tournament or to answer questions about it. If I'm a coach, I might also be thinking about which tournaments you're looking at going to. I mean, oftentimes, if you've done it a few years, it's the same tournaments. It's the same kind of both quantity, how many you're going to do, but which tournaments. But if the tournament's not being offered, you're going to need to find a replacement, or maybe you do look to try something new.
You can also share busing across districts. Thank you, Doug, for the legislature on that one. So if you are in a local area and you guys are having a hard time with buses and things too, look to your local areas, and you can even like start as Skyline, pick up in Sandy, and pick up in Lehigh to get to Salem.
Can you send us that legislation, just so?
Yeah, we'll have Doug do it. They did a whole
Just so
sharing
if our
resources.
district is like, hey, we're not doing.
Yep,
that.
they put out a sharing.
Well, we just got
You
that.
can split it between your schools.
Yeah, that would be nice to have the.
Yeah, Doug did that a couple years ago because of schools doing that. Anyway, that was a thought too. Doug's tournament, he looks like he's already changed it to the 15th, 16th of November from his 21st, so it's correct on the calendar.
Well, we'll get there.
Yep.
So we're going to go weekend by weekend.
Or 16, 17.
If you are hosting a tournament or know pretty definitively that someone is hosting a tournament that you don't see on there, we can add it right now to the Google Calendar. You can download and add this to your Google Calendar or iCalendar suite if you want as well. But
There's
you'll
a little bit
notice
technical
there's a
percent
ton of tournaments, multiple tournaments per weekend. You're choosing what's right for you in your program. Maybe some tournaments offer a novice division and you really need that, others don't. Some are only speech, some are only debate. Some are 2 days, 1 day. Obviously geography is usually one of the most determining factors of where you're going. So again, if you see your tournament and you want to make a pitch, great, you don't need to. And if you're like, wait, we're going to be hosting on that weekend, or if we need to make a change. Our season officially begins the first weekend in October. Our season officially ends mid-March with our state tournaments. Students can go up to 8 tournaments in 1A, 10 in 1A, 2A, 2.
Oh no, it's 8 in 1A, sorry.
Yeah, 8 in 1A, 2A, and 10 in all the other classifications. That's not you as a school, that's individual students.
And it does not count.
10 will not count region or state.
Or national qualifiers.
Or the national qualifier. So kids can go to quite a lot of tournaments. I mean, it really is a ton of tournaments. So here's your menu. First weekend, Beehive Bonanza up at the University of Utah, Westlake Thunderdome, and the Falcon First.
He's doing Falcon First. I know he is. So if you're in Davis County, or you just want to go to a one-day tournament on Saturday, Falcon First is great for novices, specifically novices.
It's all novice events, right?
It's all novice.
And your varsity kids can go and judge.
Yep.
Did East get a new coach?
Yeah, Beehive, I'll just say, it's cool that it's a college campus. I mean, it is 2 days for most events, but they do have a novice division. They have open, and like I said, they have a huge food court. You're on a college campus. It's kind of fun
They
to
still
take
have
off.
TOC bids for speech.
For
events on
speech.
that one.
For speech, yeah.
Let me add this as well. It's good for novices because in debate, the first 2 rounds are teaching, instruction. Teaches the kids how to perform out of it. And so that's a good one for novices. It's kind of a little heavy on the debate side, a little light on the speech side. They only do 2 rounds of speech on day 2 of the tournament.
That's about the first.
No, but
Yeah.
And Westlake will have a regular tournament schedule of everything and anything, so there you go.
And do double check. Oftentimes, just like Beehive and Enza here, it may show a 2-day tournament. Double check the invite because oftentimes speech will only be on one day.
I
Debate's
believe
on
it's
the
gonna be
other.
speech on Friday and debate on
And
Saturday.
You might be there both days, but in terms of getting those kids to commit or plan their schedule as well, if they're only a speech kid, they might only go Saturday. Or if they're only a debate kid, they might only go Saturday. Okay, next weekend, Buffalo Battles.
Beginning Bach battles. It'll be a novice only tournament tour.
Mustang Madness, 18th, 19th.
That one's mine. That'll be a big one. Plan to do speech. The current plan is debate on Friday, and then maybe pull into Saturday a little bit, then speech on Saturday. There's going to be 2 panels of speech. So panel A, panel B, similar to what Doug does at the Skyhop, and then there will be asyncs also.
Hunter hunting.
So, hunter hunting, right, our usual tournament, so far as I'm aware, the only tournament that permits costumes, because we're Halloween themed, so that's a big plus. Costumes cannot add to like a student's, event, but we also hold a costume competition. One of the most notable ones I can remember, at least recently, was a group came as the Spanish Inquisition.
Skyline.
A crowd favorite, by the way. In addition, I think, to a coach favorite as well.
It was unexpected.
No, and when they did their speeches, and they're all Congress kids, they all did stuff like, no one should expect the Spanish Inquisition, but you should expect a rise of gun violence, and so that was our AEDs all connected to the Spanish Inquisition.
It
so
was
good.
really fantastic.
Wait till you see this year's.
So, we're one of the largest tournaments in the state, consistently between 30 and 35 schools. So if you want to see a lot of different teams from a lot of different places, we're a good place for that. And we're one of the earlier tournaments in the year. As long as there's enough entries, we have a novice division in every event that we can have enough entries in. We run 2 patterns, a debate pattern and an individual event pattern /duo. And we have extra events usually as well, like SPAR. We do run BQ. I would love to have enough people to actually enter to actually get the grant money this year. That would be nice. We were like 1 short last year. There you go. Hey, we need the money. Our budget's kind of hard.
So we haven't created there.
That was a long spiel. I'm trying to think. Oh, and we do online extra events that your kids can enter so they can get lots of points. So we do online versions of events like lip sync, poetry. I think we did like news reporter. So we have online events as well that kids can partake in. So it can be like a points palooza too. So.
Any other October shout outs? All right, November, but before we get to November, I'll just say, this is just a nice calendar of planning. Remember, tournament directors will oftentimes just send out their invitation on the listserv, so there'll be a little bit more details about the schedule, what all those events were, what's being offered, but ultimately you're going to be going to tabroom.com to actually do the registration.
And not all of them will be up. Sometimes they don't get up till like the month before, so don't stress if you don't see it quite yet.
Yeah. But look at that, Buffalo Battles ready to go. Novice only. And so that's how you'll register and usually get more information as well. All right, moving into November.
Push mine back to the 15th. My scheduler is sometimes spacey.
Which was that? In December?
Viewmont, the Ragnarok. We're going to actually kind of run it like the Arts Classic, 4 divisions. Whoever is the best of the best gets the Viking helmets that are coveted.
That does mean as of right now, November 1st and 2nd is open. If you're thinking of hosting a tournament, maybe we'll look into doing something there, but free weekend, that's rare on the calendar. You can see.
So what, Adam, text me that.
Yeah.
Young lawyers, is there a second?
Who's gonna run it
It was
though?
Well, it was just such a good, like, for
It
debaters,
was.
it was such a good debate tournament. My debate kids love young lawyers. It'd be nice to have it
You
back.
hosted it one year, didn't you?
I'm not sure if we ever hosted it at Roland Hall. I was always co-hosting with Stephanie. We did it at the beach, but fair enough, fair enough. Nice joust.
But we can try to, yeah, it's because
And
it's been that way.
fashionably late, but here to plug. Yeah, I was saying you were going to lead the whole parade off route and just bring them all here for us to see. But Doug Welton is here and can talk about Skyhawk SmackDown.
Yeah, Sky SmackDown 15th and 16th. We were going to do the weekend later, but we're going to stick with 15th and 16th. 2-day tournament when we set it up, so if you've got kids that are just debate, they can go debate days Friday, and if they want to do a speech, they will do Saturday, so you guys have to travel a little bit. We have a ton of events, and we single flight debate events on Friday for LAPF, so you can get like a high quality tournament for those of you who like debate. Without having to go to break rounds, and you can have one day and be done. We've got to come back Saturday for speech awards. We've got 2 panels with a million different events. We also have online versions, so if your kids want to compete online as well. We usually have 40-ish schools, so there's a pretty big variety of attendance. We've got some St. George schools coming up this year. So anyway, we'd love to have you. Have really cool awards.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we have fun.
Valley. Thanksgiving area, so not surprised that there's not tournaments here or the end of November, but anything need to be added in November? December, 6, 7, quite a few.
Elta, Silver and Black. This is a TOC tournament. We get schools from out of state, but it's also a great opportunity for in-state schools where we do give you a little bit of a break on the price, and then we also, it's a great chance for your upper level students to really go against some of this top competition from around the region and get some really good feedback from some amazing judges. So really want to encourage you to come on out. We have a lot of fun. It is single flighted PF and LD on Friday and Saturday, and then Friday, Saturday, and policy as well, single flighted. And then everything is done Saturday night except for outrounds and policy, which take place on, I know everybody hold your breath, Sunday morning. But we do it at a hotel so that we don't break any Utah rules or anything like that. And so that's worked really well last year, and want to encourage you to come and give your students a chance to get some really high level, quality, top level feedback and competition.
One thing I'll say about Alta Silver and Black is there's 2 ways that you can approach it, because it is highly competitive. If you have a highly competitive team, then go and compete. If you're just starting, or like with me, I have pretty much a brand new team this year. That could very much be one of those, like it's a trial by fire, where it's like you're there to get the NSDA points, but also to really see and learn from top quality debaters. And so even if your team is not that skilled, I wouldn't say necessarily let that pull you away from Alta. It's just about taking a different perspective on it.
We have great food too. We feed you. That's part of the entry fee. And last year when Tab Room went down, you would have never known because it was snowing and we put Elf on the 32 screen wide thing. And we had lunch and watched Elf, and then Tab Room came back up. So it was beautiful.
Nice.
Caesar Cicero, Crimson Clash.
Yeah, Shannon's going to do it. Caesar Cicero. It's a fun tournament as well.
It is.
It's like the old school tournaments where you have both events running concurrently, where you have debate, then speech, then debate, then speech. So if you're old enough to remember that, or you've competed that way, yep. And we just have a fun time though. Mainly, all we see up there are Davis and maybe sometimes Northern Salt Lake, but because it's clear up in Northridge, I don't know, we have a fun time. We really do.
We typically
Not quite costumes, but ugly sweaters allowed at the ugly sweater
I
tournament.
don't know if she's doing that.
She's emailed it to me,
Okay.
so we'll see. If they cancel them,
Yeah.
we'll let you know as soon as possible.
Yeah, nothing's official until you see that
Tab room.
room open for registration and taking stuff from that.
Sometimes you get admins who change and.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Charger Challenge. Heard a little bit about it already. Army of
Okay.
volunteer judges, but
Yeah, so Charger Challenge opens next week on Tab. I had Tanya double check it. So just really quickly, this is a tournament that we've ran. This is the third year, and one of the things that we start with is what kind of tournament do our students, want to attend? What are the best practices we've learned from other tournaments? So a couple of things that are a little bit unique about Charger Challenge. We're going to do mostly speech on Friday, but we are offering some debate events as well. So we're doing like Big Question, we're doing Spar. Friday's going to be mostly debate, or Saturday's going to be mostly debate, but we do have a few speech events. We have a ton of async events. We've got some really great awards that we've done. We've got pictures of it on Tab Room, so you can see that. You can see the schedule. It's all single-flighted. Speech will be TOC. We submitted them last year. We did breakgrounds and everything. The TOC accepted it, so we're going to do that again. Last year, they actually let me submit my top 3 to Congress. So we were not in TOC, but I emailed them, kind of went through what we did, and they allowed me to submit my results on my top 3 in Congress, and they accepted it. So I'm going to try it again, no promises. But yeah, we got a lot of volunteers. We have great school partners. We're working on getting food trucks the second day. We've got a couple of extracurricular programs in the school that are going to be selling some concessions to fundraise. The other thing we do is we do a lot of just fun, twisty things that we've learned from other tournaments outside of Utah. We did 5 tables last year where kids could go get their horoscope. They did tarot readings. They did candy. We had bingo throughout the day. Some of the bingo cards were borderline. The kids submitted them. We got them approved, and then they changed them and printed them after that. So, I had a policy team kissing each other to get the public display of affection. So, we have a lot of awards and things like that. But the last thing I'm going to say about this is we are playing around with the idea of doing Friday awards, Saturday awards. So if you do have a team where you have kids that work, maybe you can only make it one day. We want to make sure that we go out of our way to celebrate their accomplishments. And last but not least, we are very passionate, myopically so, on breakgrounds. I think that creates excitement. I think it's good for other classmates to go watch somebody that made it to the next round of elimination. So our schedule's on there. We've got lots of breakgrounds. I'm going to bring in a lot of former students and volunteers. If your kid's in debate at Corner Canyon, it's, you've got to be there. I also am going to reach out to my PTSA as well. So we're not going to have a shortage of judges, and it's going to be super intense and a lot of fun. There you go.
Question.
Can you explain what Tournament of Champions is?
I'll go over that.
There you go.
I'll hunt
I was
that
going
for
to
you.
give you Shaq before Tanya. There you go.
Or Shaq Anime.
Any others need to be added December? All right, the Speech Arts Tournament. Tanya, you can talk about that one.
Speech Arts, so last year we'd had it scheduled on the first week and everyone was gonna be gone because of the way it lined up, and schools decided to change their schedules and like coming after Christmas and stuff. And then my husband had open heart surgery, so it actually worked out nicely not to have it. So we are gonna be going to Skyline unless something bizarre happens. So we're hoping to be in their brand new, beautiful building that they'll have at Skyline High School. There are some people who are wanting maybe some changes to the way we've done it in the past. So in the past, usually we have 4 divisions: champion, varsity, JV, and novice, and you get 1 in each of those categories. Simulating state, where you get 4 in each category of events to kind of get kids ready on that mindset that not everyone gets to do everything all the time. But if you guys are like set on changes, that's not working, and we really need some changes, I can't guarantee it'll change, but please, I'm always open for listening to ideas and opinions and concerns and stuff like this. and doing what I can. Can't always say that it's gonna happen, but we can always look at it, for sure. So, there you go.
Beaver battles.
Right here. Let me talk about the
Yeah.
battles. Yes, so we're kind of the opposite of silver and black, right? So we are a low-key, chill, relaxed, goof-off tournament that is just kind of all about making the kids feel comfortable and welcome in speech and debate. So we got a ton of just silly speech events, you know, a few standard debate events to keep things respectable. We're famous for our chewed-off beaver log sweepstakes trophies. So if you want to add a unique trophy to your trophy case, we've got chewed-off beaver log sweepstakes trophies. We offer big school and small school divisions because, again, we want to bring the small schools in and kind of help the kids feel comfortable competing in speech and debate. Our most popular feature is the kids vie for the most valuable beaver. The kid that wins the most trophies and the most events wins some special recognition. Beaver battles.
Bonneville, Cash Classic, or Beat Digger Brawl? Patriot Powerhouse.
I actually have to change the date for Patriot Powerhouse. I thought that was already done, but it's not. Well, I had to reschedule the school because Rachel Billings is tapping out. So we're taking their spot on the 17th and the 18th.
Of January?
Of January?
Yeah, January.
Is Falcon Frenzy not happening now?
No.
Nope. Unfortunately. So, but that gives us a great opportunity because essentially if you live anywhere south of Sandy, then our tournament would be the tournament best geographically situated for you guys, unless you want to drive all the way up to basically Idaho. So,
You have to do this right now.
we're really
I just literally did it. If you refresh it, it'll be there.
that's most of what I can say because I've never run a tournament before, but I'm hoping that it will work out, and we're hoping that we can get as many people crammed into that tiny little high school as possible. So.
Yeah, so now Patriot Powerhouse 17-18, which does leave 31st and the 1st.
Laker is that same weekend. That's not Idaho.
It's basically.
No, it's not. It's all of 15 minutes from me.
It's like Clinton.
So we're planning, tentatively, we're planning on doing one either the 24th, but if the 31st is open, it might be better.
Grantsville?
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's still really tentatively.
Let us know.
But the early things, they said 24th because the only Cash Classic is there. It's just gonna be a one day. So I'm
Either
not
way,
sure what it's gonna be about, but I know we're gonna do a tournament this year. And it looks like it'll either be the 24th, but now that the 31st weekend is open, it might be that one. Cause that might be better. So.
Everywhere so
Let us know. Just email me or text me.
Yeah.
Moving into February. Jonathan loves to do Buffalo Battles.
That'll be Tooele, one night, great tournament, yep.
Yeah, they use March topics.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have like 1 week of prep.
But it's region prep is the theme for that.
But it's good for the kids because then they don't rely on the briefs to fill their evidence.
It's really actually really good for them.
It's good.
It fills up really fast too, so if that's something you wanna
He has
go
to cap it. He's
yeah,
only so
he has
big.
to. It's a great tournament though.
This is which date start?
This is Buffalo Battles.
That's in Tooele. And then David Start's awesome too. It's a great tournament, one day, lots of fun things, and yep.
National qualifying tournaments. Tanya's going to talk first, but then I'm going to pull up Great Salt Lakes, and we'll add those too. But totally separate from region and state, totally independent to the Tournament of Champions or other tournaments during the regular season. It's a one-off chance to qualify to the NSDA, National Speech and Debate Association, national tournament in June. There are 3 different districts in Utah. Each district has about 20 to 25 schools in it, and they host one tournament, speech, Congress, debate, and Tanya can talk to you a little bit about Sundance.
So Sundance District, if you don't know which district you're in, please ask. We can look it up. Mike or I can look up at which district you're in. If you want to change districts, like you're not able to travel as much, or you're in a district that's not, regionally located and that's hurting your ability to go and stuff, just let us know because we can actually make those changes.
Tanya, I asked the NSDA if I could change, and they told me they only allow it between
Yeah,
not
it
because
ha-
I don't
it
love our
happens.
district.
It has to happen.
Between December and April.
Yeah, so like, well, if you tell them sooner, they can, but yeah. So, but that's when they do those changes and stuff. So start talking about it if you're going to make those changes and stuff, but you can talk to us about that if you have issues with that. Basically, depending on which district you're in, they're gonna show up on the calendar differently. So Sundance, you have Wasatch, and you have things, they'll have a speech day, a converse day, and a debate day. And, yeah. And it's your chance to go to Des Moines, Iowa this year.
100-year celebration.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It's a 100-year celebration of NSDA too. So.
Speech is the 10th, right up above.
Des Moines, Iowa.
100-year.
Yeah, they're on the calendar.
There's 28.
We're looking for our locations. We're still verifying with schools, but we will let you know as soon as possible. They will be in the central northern Salt Lake area this year.
We chat that meeting here.
Rachel's going to. And then Amanda Kearns.
Yeah, we will come up with a better name than the Currents Debate Tournament soon, but that was at least a placeholder. But, just region prep, I plan on collapsing it into one day, cause I think that'll be easier for people and less money to spend on buses, probably this Saturday. More information to come.
Thank you so much, because that's my 10th tournament.
Region tournaments, you're staying tuned for individual invites from your region rep. These are much smaller tournaments usually, the 4 or 5 schools, maybe 1 or 2 schools, maybe only 1 school from your region. But region is how you qualify to state. It's not just a chance to win a region title. Students must compete at region to go to state. There is a handbook that goes in really a lot of detail on roster limits and eligibility and how you qualify to state, but nearly every region tournament in the state happens on that weekend.
Except for 1A.
Yeah. Most of them are 1 day.
Most are 1 day.
tournaments,
Some regions are big enough they need 2.
Ours is 2 days now.
Yeah.
So that's a big save the date. Like all these other ones, okay, life gets in the way,
You want
students
to
don't
save
sign
region.
up.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go to a tournament and kill your Saturday for 2 kids, so you're like, wait for another one to get more.
Also-
But region save the date.
Region is also March topics.
Yep.
Region and state are March topics. It's in the handbook as that, but everyone keeps always asking. It's always March. Just FYI.
And then the next save the date would of course be the state tournaments. If you are 4A through 6A, the bigger schools, March 7th and 8th, it is a 2-day tournament. Different events happen at different times.
I plan on being sick, so if anybody wants to take over the 5-day role.
You're not allowed, Adam.
Ah!
You had too much fun at the other
It
tournament
was
when you
so
were
great.
sick, so.
It was so fun.
I don't have we're getting the locations put in there. We decided on them last year. So we will be putting those in soon, as we get the executive committee approval on those.
And the executive,
Where do we think 5 days?
yeah, executive committee, by the way, like I said,
Adams
the
hosting
state
5A.
tournament
He's
is
the
the only one that the
Oh, but we don't
UHSA,
have
the
a
High
location
Schools
yet.
Activities
They've
Association,
given us
care
that we
about.
have to have
So,
approved by the
All of this gets approved by principals, athletic directors. Our first meeting isn't until later this month, but that's when we actually lock stuff in. We'll make sure there's
And
every
we will post them.
classification has a director, so one person to report to, plus the oversight of director of tournaments, plus the guidance of the UHSA, which will usually be, again, those region reps and classification directors all taking place. But these dates are set, those are already put in place. First question.
Our region, yes.
2A.
2A, they're trying to get theirs moved to the 7th and 8th. They're doing it by themselves instead of one
Snow
through 3.
College.
And at Snow College. It's still
We will
taking
have to
longer.
see, again, it takes executive committee approval.
That Erica Hawks is our.
But the UHSA
yeah,
has to
and she's
approve all of
working
those things.
of all that. But
So
she
we'll
just
know
wanted
as soon
it-
as we know.
2A, ICS, another 2A. Stay tuned, it might be 7th and 8th, but it's usually right there that second week or third week
Because we
in
also have
March.
to get 1A.
Ryan?
Is
Vaughn
district
and Mike have volunteered to help 1A, so they're not.
But they can't do it that second.
is national qualifiers for Great Salt Lake on that calendar?
It's gonna be soon, and it's the same time for debate. The only one that's different is we do what Congress will be on.
Congress is like a weird Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah.
13th.
And then when's the speech one? I didn't see.
The 10th
That's our problem.
of February.
1A can only
Thank
do
you.
that way.
Speech will be at Tooele, Congress will likely be at Skyline, and then Roland Hall for
Yep, for debate.
Okay.
10th is a Monday.
Yeah,
is
that's
it-
why I'm saying we have to get it together because yes, we
Oh,
have
eight.
what we want.
8th, sorry.
But it doesn't come down to
8th,
it.
Ryan's 8th.
Okay. Same thing.
As much as-
Monday would be wild.
Yeah.
And our voices are being heard.
Must have been,
but
sorry
they're
about that.
So same place as Buck Battles. You just go 2 days in a row if you're getting the speech.
Other questions regarding state? This is gonna transfer us into handbook discussion, then a break.
There's one more in
Yeah.
April,
One more what?
tournament in April.
Oh,
Beaver does a last chance debate in April for funsies.
This started years ago as the Layton Last Chance, but then it moved to Tooele as the Tooele Last Chance, and then now
Beaver does it.
moved to Beaver as the Last Dam Tournament. It's a recruiting tournament.
I like it.
Beaver still dams, so we're
Good.
getting to the last time. So it's to recruit new kids to the program. It's to kind of give them something to do during the last quarter, and again, just a fun throwaway tournament.
It does help with recruiting.
Yeah, very helpful.
The kids enjoy it.
this is also April and into May, and then you already heard about June. These are also where national tournaments are usually held, whether it's the National Debate Coaches Association, the NDCA, whether it's the Tournament of Champions. These are tournaments that you qualify for. These are national circuit level tournaments. There's Catholic Nationals. There's certainly some other organizations that you can be a part of to continue if you either qualify or have those goals. Into May is when the junior high and elementary school tournaments start to pop up. Those are usually held at the district level, and then the UDCA will host a state tournament second week in May for junior high and middle school, elementary school divisions. So there are still ways that students stay involved if you do have fourth quarter debate, even though the season is officially over from the high school perspective in state, except for a couple last chances. There are lots of national organizations that are hosting tournaments.
And something else that we have tried to start back up this last year, for like April and May area, is several schools restarted like their mock trial teams. And while we don't necessarily do like competitive mock trials, because that generally conflicts with debate, but near in that springtime, last year we did just a fun mock trial scrimmage between like 3 or 4 schools, and they had a blast with that. And so if that's something you're interested in, keep an eye out for that. I'll talk to Michelle. I think she's the one that spearheaded it last year, and see what we want to do for that.
Yeah, fourth quarter sucks.
And if you're debatecoaches.org, not Utah Debate Coaches, debatecoaches.org is it isn't the National Speech and Debate Association, which covers for our intents and purposes, it's our district qualifying tournament and the nationals, but they also set the topics and everything else. But if you're curious about a overnight trip that you can take people to, a lot of teams go down to Arizona State, some go to California, some will go to I'll throw out some other ones that people go to for overnighters. But there's a whole list. They don't have it in calendar form, but you can see it's color coded for September, October, November. These are all tournaments that are considered kind of national circuits, so you're getting more than one state. Most of these are Tournament of Champions qualifiers, but they're also usually the bigger tournaments that if you wanted to take a bus full of kids for an overnight, the hotel, the team bonding experience, they're there. And you can certainly, as you've seen on the email thread, just ask and be like, what tournaments are you considering? Because Utah usually travels together and tries to help share those resources. But that's debatecoaches.org, and it's the tournament calendar. Everything national circuit above and beyond. Check with your principal about what you're allowed to do and what you feel comfortable doing. But they are a lot of fun. Like I said, if nothing else, team bonding, a chance to be part of a larger community sense. Yeah.
I was just going to say, does anybody know if anyone's hosting NCFL qualifiers this year?
No, I haven't heard yet.
Kearns did it
Ashley's
last
not
year.
doing it, so.
So, nope.
Not yet. We'll find out. It'll probably start coming out if it's going to happen.
For fourth quarter, I just want to toss this out there. I know I talked a little bit about it last year, but I would really love to do a UDCA sponsored like pre-nationals boot camp.
Yep.
For any of our national qualifiers. I would be happy to host that at West. I think like it's a great opportunity for us to all come together and like have our students not only work with each other but work with like people who are really good at those events, right? I've got a lot of friends at the university I could call up and they could come down and help. And just, you know, collaborate, like try to really bring the level of competition up for nationals, which is a level of competition that most people are very much not prepared for the first time they see it. I know I wasn't. So I definitely want to talk about that and yeah, get that going.
Okay, we're digging deep, a little behind, but putting this under the statewide information. We take whatever time we need, and if you want, I can either pull it up and show, or you can log in. But handbook clarifications. So when in doubt, like our statewide rule book, this is what the UHSAA provides. We make rule modifications. Our organization, as the Coaches Association, makes the recommendations, and it's the statewide executive committee who rubber stamps it, and then they release a handbook to let people know. So sometimes it's big changes, like a new event or the size of your roster. Other times there's smaller things like internet usage or a little minor congressional process rule. But Tanya's got some updates and handbook clarification.
Here's the biggest thing, you guys. For those of you who have been around long enough, 2-3 years ago, it was a mess. It would say one thing in one place and another thing in another place, and it was wordy and things. So 2 years ago, the executive committee here of the UDCA sat down in the office at the UHSA, and we worked through and combined the areas, made it simpler to read through, took out what was most confusing about it, and there's still always those confusing things. The biggest thing is make sure that you note how many people you can take to state. The biggest confusing with that is that it is participants, not entries. So that means 30 participants. If they are double entry, which 1 through 3 had already been doing this, but 4 through 6A it was confusing when we added double entry a couple years ago. That means if they're doing 2 events, they're a participant twice, as if they were another person, and that's the biggest change. So if you have one kid who's doing a PF, they're one person for the PF team, and then if they're doing oratory, they're one participant for that oratory. So it's 30 max in 4 through 6, or 3 through 6A, 28 1 through 2A, but it's participants, not entries. And that is because of our point system that we give for sweepstakes. It goes by student. You get how many points per student, not by team or entry. So that and stuff in those entries. So PF team counts as 10 points if they're the top, instead of the 5 points if you're LD. So that is why we do it that way, is because of that, which is what gives the parity between speech and debate events when we do that. Yes?
Why don't we do duo?
Duo would be 2 people in a speech event, which is that. We don't have duo right now as a state event. Here's the thing though, this year is the year that you can put in for new events. We only allow it every 3 or 4 years by whatever it is in there. I think it's 3 years, 4 years, 4 years. Yeah, every 4 years. The reason of that is because we want to give it time for new events to get in and not change every year. So when we do new events, we put them in and then we let it go for 4 years, see if it's working. Because if you've been in education long enough, you know that they always go, hey, that's not working, and they change it every year when it takes 4 to 5 years to actually see results, which I have the data which can show you things at this point from our tab rooms and stuff like that on that. So this would be the year to do new events and submit those. So what I would suggest is throughout the year when you're at tournaments, talk to people, talk to other coaches, what's working, what's not working, what do we want to see, why? Because when you submit it, you're going to have to submit a proposal, and that's the thing, even if we all agree on it and we want it, it does not mean it's going to happen. Sometimes it just gets the conversation started at the top level so that in 4 years it can happen. So it can be a process and things like that. So entry limits, this is one of those things that took a while. We wanted parity when I first started helping and being with things 9 years ago. And then we submitted that. They said, no, let's talk about it. Let's look at what we could do. I tracked data for 4 years, and then we were able to add to the event so that speech was equal to debate, that we worked on the wording and things, and it took time, but now we have those things and stuff because of that. We added interps, which has greatly increased numbers of people coming. It's also increased our ability at the NSDA level and national levels on those things. Duo is not in there because of the point system, again, with our things that way. So there's parity on the sweepstakes and things like that. BQ is also not in there, but it is now becoming a thing. So those are some events and things. There are things in there that you guys could start considering to propose at the end of this year and be ready to talk about and do, just FYI. So big things, double entry is getting better with that. That was a new change a couple years ago that we did after COVID because we saw a huge number drop. We were already seeing a decline in events and speech and debate programs, especially smaller schools, things like that. Once we got parity in and we added in the double entry, all of a sudden we saw a rise in numbers again. So if anyone's interested in all that data, I have it all in shared folders. I've sent out the folders for you guys, and I can send those links. I'll probably post it to the website. But you can actually see the trending going up. Even though we have the same amount of schools or less schools, we're seeing numbers stay steady or rise. So we can see that the things we're doing and have been doing have been working to help build our program and keep it alive in our state. Top 10, here's another big confusing thing that happens. At region, the top 10 in each event qualify to state or 50% of the field if it's greater. So if you have 20 people in an event at region, 50% is already 10. If they are tied though, guess what? If you have a tie for 11th place or 10th place, everyone goes. So there you go. With those things. Also, you get a full slate whether or not they were in the top 10. If you are in the top schools, so if you have 5 schools in your region that are competing, 3 of those schools, the top 3 in sweepstakes can take a full slate, no matter what. Most of the regions, I will just tell you, in our state, except for 2, maybe 3, barely have enough to have a region, and everyone goes, no matter what. Here's the thing, if you are at a region that only has 1 or 2 schools and you are struggling, you can combine with another region, run it together, then you parse it out. We have ways to do that. Mike's helped with it in the 3A level, where you guys combine. Beaver's done it several times. We have ways for you to combine, run it so the kids get a real region experience to prepare them for state, and do that. 1A is our exceptions. 1A only gets region and state for the most part. So they have their region with their 3 schools, and then they go to state. If 2A moves their weekend, I guess they'll be with 3A. They very much value the experience. Their kids don't get tournament experiences all year long. And this is their only chance to be with other debate kids, to see what it's like, to experience what a real tournament's like and things like this. And so we've been talking with them, and they are very grateful for the last 4 or 5 years especially that we've made an effort to make them feel part of things. And I think if we're going to grow 1A from 3 schools, this is the only way we're going to do that. So if you have a chance to reach out to 1A schools and help them in any way, shape, or form as when it comes to region and state time, please do so, because they're struggling on that end. So alternates, there's no such thing as really alternates anymore. We got rid of that. Was a whole section that used to be, and it was a mess, and I was explaining it every year and it was still confusing. Now it's just, if there's a person at Region who was over your, and you could bring a full slate, but you got 4 in your event already, you know, 30 and you had 32 and someone else gets sick, that person was an oratory and this person was an oratory but wasn't going, they can go up. It doesn't happen as much anymore. The only other thing is in PF, for some reason, you have a PF team, the night before someone gets COVID on that PF team. Hopefully the other partner didn't get it either. Or isn't bringing it with them. But you have another PF team that couldn't go, but because one partner couldn't go, that other partner did qualify at Region. That partner could be like, emergency case only, and it should be not planned, it's not for prom, it's not because mom and dad decided to plan some vacation. All of a sudden, it's like, this is a dire emergency kind of situation. All right, for PF, that would be PF and policy only. And I think the only other confusion is interps are not duo at state.
It's combined, which means it's single, but it's combined for both dramatic and humorous.
And POI.
And POI.
Yeah.
Really
yeah. So we had a confusion of that at one of the regions. They let a duo do it. We were graceful. I was grumpy at that point in my life, but everyone else was graceful about it. The UHSA was graceful, and let them quickly do an HI or DI out of their duo at state really quick. So but we don't. That's an exception to the rule. We are not going to do that. No, don't do that. Okay. I don't think we'll be graceful again, because now we know. If there's ever any confusion about anything in the handbook, I pretty much have it memorized.
Yeah. 180 pages or so.
So if you have questions, please ask Mike or I, because we were both on the committee that helped to get that figured out. And he knows it pretty much as well as I do, I think, too. And so we both can do it really well. Yeah.
You may have mentioned something about this, but the rule change that we all voted on.
For Congress, they have not updated the handbook yet.
Okay.
Here's the thing, you guys, sometimes the handbook does not get updated the way we want or as quickly as we want.
Okay.
Know that the changes are there, and if you're questioning it, clarify it with us. Well, yes, it's there, it's just not in the handbook yet, it's fine.
And they do a good job once it does hit to shade in gray, like highlight in gray, the new changes. So if you have, really every coach, new coaches, it's your responsibility. It's what is it, 20, well, actually most of this is event descriptions.
Yeah.
Let's go to maybe, it's probably 15, 16, yeah. 20 pages, your responsibility. You read it, know the handbook, know the rule book. But if you've read it before, when the new issue comes out, you'll see in highlighting, like, oh, this is new language.
There's not a lot of changes this year. Mm-hmm. We only had the caucusing. Just also note with caucusing, that should, for those of you running tournaments and stuff, caucusing should happen before round starts and session starts, the way caucusing works. The kids should come with what they want to have the order to be. They should get people on board and then go in, and that should be like the first thing on the docket the parleys do. And it shouldn't take more than a few speeches of getting it done and set, so that you're not using a time. Caucusing does not happen in session itself. The caucusing happens outside of it. If you have questions about caucusing, please ask. We're happy to describe that. My husband has seen it at both nationals and at local levels, and he is more than happy to help with training and explain to parleys or to coaches or whoever needs as well.
And I competed in Congress in a district that used caucusing. I was the one who proposed it. I'm a big fan of it. Really excited about it. I would just encourage like any tournament directors to include in their invitation a clarification of whether you'll be using an open docket, which allows caucusing, or a closed docket, which is preset. Obviously, as tournament directors, it's your call. You don't have to necessarily follow
This is only for state.
Yeah, this is only for state, but I pushed this rule change because I think it would be great to kind of give students the chance to caucus. They really have a lot of fun with it. It's something that kids get really engaged with. It makes them really feel more like legislators. And if you have any questions about that, how it works, or how you can teach it to your students, I would be more than happy to help you with that.
All right. Here's the plan. It's going to be a 10-minute break followed by some breakout sessions. Do know that we have a 1 hour kind of lunch session. Of course, lunch is provided, but that hour, it won't take you an hour to eat, but this is intentional time to either meet as a region. I have a lot of classrooms opened up. To ask questions, do some one-on-one collaboration. Maybe you're asked to, you just need time to process some of this. So keep that in mind. I know we're going through a lot quickly, but we'll take 10-minute break, and then I know we have a small update to the breakout session opportunities.
Do you want to go ahead and announce that? Or?
Well, you tell me
Okay.
who am I switching
We
with?
did have to switch breakout session, so Vaughn is actually going to do the speech and interps for this first session, along with Tanya and the theory of everything. And then we're going to move that new coach session to the second half. So you can go to the new coach session or policy.
And we are recording these, so if you miss one because you go to the other one, they'll be available to you.
Unfortunately, Congress, the coaches that we talked to weren't able to make it today, so we're going to do that. That will be
On one of our PD Fridays.
Yeah, on one of our PD Fridays. We'll cover that.
Where will the classes be?
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna, during this 10-minute break, I'm gonna go decide which are the best rooms. This space though will be available, like if you're like, I don't need to go to, I'm an experienced coach and I wanna work with someone on a different agenda item, this space is gonna be available. This is also where lunch will be at 11:30. So stretch, small break at 10:45. You'll see room numbers. They'll all be right here in this hallway anyway. You won't have much